The air tasted like wet pennies under the stadium lights. Coach's voice barked from the sideline, Whitaker, post up, eyes on Tasha. But my focus cut to the bleachers. I scanned the crowd once. Twice, zip hoodie, neon scarf, drunk dad in a trucker hat. No Dean. Third quarter, we were down by 3. I pressed my palms into my thighs, grounding myself. He's late. He said he'd be here. Eyes up, Whit. Tasha clapped twice. Already pivoting back onto the court, I nodded, jogged out. The pass came low. I caught it, spin, fake, shoot, 2 points. Cheers blurred into static. I looked again, nothing. Halftime came. I paced the tunnel outside the locker room, teeth digging into my bottom lip. Coach Daniels passed me, eyeing my hands. Shake it off, Harper. You're rattled. I'm fine, I said. You're not. You're stiff as granite. I said I'm fine. He didn't push it, just walked off and muttered something about young nerves. 15 minutes. That was all Dean needed to show up. To make good on what he promised over a microwave burrito 2 nights ago. I wouldn't miss it for the world, he'd said. You missed the regional semifinals, he grinned. That was jail adjacent, totally different vibe. I didn't laugh. He had. Then he kissed the top of my head and said, I'm serious this time. Back on the court, I moved on instinct. My head tracked the ball. But the center of me was elsewhere. It was an out-of-body kind of concentration, the one where you're doing everything right and still feel wrong. We won by 4. The buzzer blared. People screamed "Dodd," and all I could do was look at the empty row behind the chain link. The locker room echoed with celebration. Gatorade flew. Girls screamed. I peeled my socks off and stared at the tile beneath my feet like it might explain something. Hell of a shot, Tasha said, flopping down beside me. Yeah. You okay? Fine. She gave me a sideways glance, then bumped her shoulder into mine. He didn't come, did he? I didn't answer. Want a ride? No. You sure? Yeah. Outside, it was colder than it had any right to be. My breath clouded. I sat on the concrete edge of the walkway, phone in hand. No messages, no missed calls. Just silence. At 11:43 p.m., I texted and me, you okay? 12 minutes passed. Then a reply. Dean, shit. I fell asleep. I'm so sorry, Harp. I stared at the message. Read it again. Me, you promised. No reply. At 12:06, I got, Dean, I know. I fucked up. I'll make it up to you, swear. I almost replied, something short. Something like okay or whatever. But my thumbs hovered, then stopped. I put the phone in my pocket and walked the 4 blocks home. The house was dark. Mom worked nights. Dad was nowhere these days. Dean's car wasn't in the driveway. I took off my shoes quietly, climbed the stairs and pushed open his door. Empty, bed made, no signs of sleep. I stood there a long minute, then I opened his closet. A duffel bag of weed, pills, a flask, wadded up bills. I didn't touch anything, just looked. Then I closed it again and left the room the way I found it. The next morning, he was at the kitchen table, coffee in hand, acting casual. He looked up like nothing had happened. Hey, MVP. I poured myself orange juice and sat across from him. I was there in spirit, he said, smiling. You crushed it, right? Don't. He paused. Don't what? Don't act like it didn't matter. I said I was sorry. You lied. I didn't lie. He looked away. I messed up. That's not the same. It is to me. He leaned back. You're mad. I get it. But Jesus, Harp, I've got a lot going on. I was 16. That was the biggest night of my life. I know. You said you come, you promised. I didn't think. No. I cut him off. You didn't. The silence between us was wide and sharp. He picked at the corner of the newspaper like it might save him. I stood. You weren't asleep. He didn't respond. You were never planning to come. Still nothing. I left the room years later. I think back to that night, the ache in my chest, the way the wind felt hollow. I'd remember the way his eyes dropped when I said his name. That was the first fracture. I just didn't know how deep it would go. The library smelled like old sweat and ink. Finals week always did that, pressure simmering through fluorescent light. Claire slid a coffee across the table. I added cinnamon, she said. I hate cinnamon. You need the jolt. I took a sip anyway. Burnt and bitter. She leaned back in her chair. So? Did he show? No, I said. Car broke down. Claire snorted again. Yeah. You loan him the money? I didn't answer. Harper, it was $60 for a tow. She crossed her arms. Wasn't it 40 last time? Different breakdown, right? I closed my book. Can we not? I just don't understand why you keep bailing him out. Because he's my brother. Exactly. I gave her a look. Sorry, she said. You cover for him like it's a second job. What's the ROI on that? I'm not running a spreadsheet on my family. Maybe you should. A week later, I found Dean outside my apartment, sitting on the steps with a plastic bag and a black eye. What happened to your face? Borrowed someone's time, didn't return it politely. Jesus, I need to stay here. Just a few nights, no. He looked up, eyes soft, please. I opened the door. 2 nights turned into 2 weeks. I found my rent check ripped in half on the kitchen counter. Pizza boxes stacking like regret. You used my checkbook? I was gonna tell you. When? I meant to. How much? 500. Dean. I'll pay you back. When? He blinked. Looked away. Soon? Claire found me at the cafe near campus. She was already halfway through her espresso. He's still there. Yes. He stole from you. He borrowed. She raised an eyebrow without asking. He was desperate. He's always desperate. I stirred sugar into my tea, watching the grains disappear. Why are you doing this? Because no one else will. Maybe that's the problem. He left a note when he disappeared. Thanks, didn't want to wake you. I'll be back. He wasn't. Months later, I walked into Claire's office, case files in hand. She looked up, expression unreadable. You made second chair on this. I nodded. You earned it. Thanks. She shut the folder. Dean called me last night. I stilled. Why? He said you'd vouch for him, said you owed him. God, I didn't take it seriously. But I thought you should know. I sat down. He's in trouble again, always. I haven't heard from him in 8 months. She steadied me. Would you still help him? I opened my mouth. Close it? No. I said. Not anymore. Later. He showed up at my door again, eyes wide with charm and bruised promises. You look good, Harp. What do you want? Just to talk. I let him in. He sat on the couch like it was still his. I'm getting my act together, are you? Yeah. I've got a lead on a job. Maybe something in Philly. I folded my arms. You drove 6 hours to tell me that. I need some cash to get there. I laughed once. Short and hollow. Come on, he said. No. He blinked. What no? He stared like I'd spoken a foreign language. I've always been there for you. That's the problem. I'm your brother. And I was your crutch. You don't mean that. I do. His jaw tensed. You think you're better than me now. No, I said. I think I'm done. When he left, I locked the door behind him. I turned off the porch light, sat on the couch, let the quiet settle. Then I called Claire. You okay? She asked. Yeah, I said. I think I finally am. The envelope was pale blue. Thin paper. Government seal stamped faint in the corner. It was already open when I got home. Saw like a dare on my kitchen table. Claire's handwriting scrawled across a post-it. Didn't open the inside. Figured. You'd want the honors. I peeled back the flap and pulled the letter free. Black text, my name. A docket number, allegations of fraud. My hands didn't shake. I read it twice, then a third time. Then I sat down, slowly, like the floor might shift. I found Dean 2 hours later in a back booth at Callahan's. Baseball cap low. Hoodie up. You look like hell. He said. You used my name. He blinked once. What? I slid the letter across the table. He didn't touch it, just stared. Where'd you get that? Where do you think? That's listen, it's not what it looks like. You forged my signature on a shell company. I didn't forge anything. You applied for a tax ID with my name and social, Dean. I was gonna fix it. When? I had a plan. You weren't supposed to know. Of course I wasn't. That was the whole point. He leaned forward. Look, Harp. I didn't mean, you never mean to. It was just paperwork. No money moved. It was dead paper. I laughed once, low. Dead paper doesn't get me court summons. I just needed it to look legit for a couple weeks. Why me? Because you're clean. You've got the name. You mean I'm not a screw-up? That's not. Don't twist it. I'm not twisting anything. I'm quoting you. Don't do this. I'm already in it because of you. He rubbed his face. Let me talk to someone. I can fix it before the court date. You won't. I will. No, Dean. You'll vanish. You'll pawn your phone. You'll sleep in someone's garage and then call me when it burns down. That's not fair. It's accurate. He looked away. I waited. He didn't say anything. Back in my apartment, I laid the summons flat on the counter, turned every page. Schedule, allegations. Exhibit A, the articles of incorporation for a company called Dry Harbor Logistics. My name. My signature. Only I never signed. Claire knocked at 9. She let herself in with her key. Wine? She asked. Middle shelf. She poured 2 glasses and handed me one. You okay? Define okay. Did he admit it? He did worse. He tried to justify it. She nodded. Sounds right. I don't even know what the company does. It doesn't do anything. It's a shell. So he committed wire fraud. Yep. And I'm now legally tethered to it, for now. I sipped the wine. Do you think he meant to sink me with it? Claire sat beside me. I think. Dean doesn't think past the moment he's in. That's generous. She shrugged. Sometimes the truth is uglier when it's dumb. I exhaled. He used my name like it was a tool. You're not a wrench, Harper. No. I'm collateral. The phone rang at midnight. Dean's name on the screen. I let it go to voicemail. Then I played the message. Hey, I'm Sorry, I panicked. You know how it gets. I was trying to get ahead. I didn't think it'd go this far. I'll figure it out. I'll fix it. Just don't hate me, please. I deleted it. Morning came. I photocopied the summons, filed a police report, sent the report and my notarized affidavit to the clerk's office. Claire read over my statement. Before I submitted it, cold, clean, she said, "It's all true. I know. I'm proud of you." "I'm not." She didn't argue. Dean showed up 3 days later. He knocked once and opened the door halfway before I stopped him. "No. Harp, come on. I filed a report. I know. I'm cooperating. Fully," I figured. He stepped back. "So that's it. His eyes burned. "You're choosing strangers over blood. I'm choosing boundaries. You're really gonna let them charge me?" "I'm not letting anyone do anything. You did this." "I made a mistake." "No," I said. "You made a choice." He didn't speak. I closed the door, locked it. Let the silence swallow the sound of his footsteps walking away. The river path was slick with last night's rain. The air clean and sharp. I kept my hands in my coat pockets and walked without urgency. It was late enough that I didn't pass anyone. Just a rustle of trees and a low hum of water slipping over stone. I didn't bring my phone. I didn't want to hear it ring. "You're quiet," Claire had said that morning, watching me stir cold oatmeal. "I don't have anything useful to say." "You always do." I shrugged. "Not today." "You sleep 3 hours, maybe." She hesitated. "You want me to do anything?" I looked up. "No. I don't want you to fix it." She nodded. "Okay." A branch cracked under my boot. I paused at the overlook. The one with the old bench and the view of the river bend. The current moved. Slow, lazy, like it didn't care about the damage underneath. Last spring, Dean had called me from a parking lot in Jersey. "Flat tire. No spare. I'm screwed." "You have roadside. They're saying 200 up front. I'm in court." "Dean, please, just wire it to the clerk." I wired it. Missed my lunch prep. Won the case anyway. He never paid me back. When Mom had her surgery, he'd shown up at the hospital smelling like whiskey. Slept in the wrong waiting room. I told the nurses he was my cousin. I sat on the bench now, elbows on my knees, eyes on the gray water. "The last time we talked before the summons," he said, "you know I'd do anything for you, right?" And I'd said, "Yeah, I know." He'd smiled like it meant something. A woman passed with her dog. Nodded politely. I nodded back. Then I whispered, "You lied. The river didn't react." Of course it didn't. When we were kids, he used to hold my hand walking across the lot behind our house. I'd cry when it wobbled. He'd say, "I've got you. Trust me." I always did. He'd taken my trust and carved his name into it like it was freewood. Boundaries. Claire had said, "You need them. He's my brother." That's not a reason. That's just a label. The wind shifted. I stood. Walked to the water's edge, pulled a flat rock from the dirt, tossed it once, twice. It skipped once, then sank. I picked up another, and another. Each one vanished. The third time Dean used my name on a lease, I told myself it was temporary, just a quick signature. Just until the job came through. It didn't. The car was impounded 6 weeks later. He ghosted the landlord. I paid the balance and never told Claire. I walked north along the bend, where the trees thinned out. There was a rusted sign half sunken. Mud, no swimming, strong undercurrent. Figures. When Dad left, Dean was 17. I was 10. He told me, "Don't worry. I've got you." He cooked me burnt spaghetti. Walked me to school. Let me cry into his hoodie the first day Mom went back to work. He was the only person who stayed. For a while, he hadn't changed. I had. The sun slipped behind the trees. I kept walking. My shoes were soaked through. I didn't care. The last time I saw his handwriting before the summons was on a birthday card. A $20 bill tucked inside. The card read, "You're a badass. Keep rising. Love you always." Dia kept it in a drawer. I don't know why. At the bridge, I stopped underneath. The water ran faster. I leaned against the railing, exhaled. Then I said, out loud to no one, "I'm done." The booth was already hers when I walked in. Back corner, red leather, low light. 2 glasses of Syrah. One untouched. "You're late," Claire said. I walked. She slid my glass toward me. "That's the only reason you get a pass." I took a sip. It tasted dark and clean, like something earned. "So," she said, leaning in, "how much do you already know?" "Everything that matters. Define matters. I've read the summons, traced the filings, confirmed the IN and signature trail. All false, and intent is provable. Timeline's clean. Damage is measurable." Claire raised an eyebrow. "You want my blessing or my strategy?" "Neither. I want your honesty." "You sure? Always?" She tapped her nails once on the glass. "Okay. Then here it is. If you cooperate with the state and submit full documentation, he's toast. 2 to 5 minimum. He'll take a plea. Might get 18 months. I stared into the glass. Would they go after him hard? They'll go after whoever makes them look decisive. A sister with clean hands and a paper trail. Perfect story, I said. Nothing. Claire softened her voice. You'd be within your rights, I know. She watched me carefully. Do you want him buried, Harper? I want him stopped. That's different? Barely. Claire sat back. He's not going to stop unless someone makes him, I know. Then stop him. The waiter approached. Claire waved him off with a quick smile. You hesitated, she said after he left. I didn't. You're still trying to find the line between justice and guilt. I looked at her. There's a difference, is there? Yes. She leaned in. Would you be here if the damage was just emotional? No. Then it's not guilt. I still let it happen. No, she said. You just didn't see it coming. That's not the same as consent. I ran a finger along the rim of the glass. He always knew I wouldn't fight back, and now he's wrong. A pause, then Claire said. Quietly, when you were clerking, you wrote a memo on fiduciary breach. You argued emotional proximity complicates intent. Remember, you were right. But you still have to act. I am. You haven't filed the affidavit. I wanted to see you first. She tilted her head. Why? Because you don't sugarcoat things, and I needed to hear it said that I can do this. That I should. Claire folded her hands. You can, and you absolutely should. I nodded once, then I will. Silence stretched between us. I'll draft the supplemental report tonight, I said. Attach evidence logs, timestamp the texts. Send me a copy. I'll walk it to the right people. I finished the wine. She looked at me for a long time. You okay? No. She nodded. Good. That means you're doing it for the right reason. We didn't hug. We didn't need to. We just sat in that dim booth. To women with clean records and dirt under our feet, the call came at 6:42 a.m. Vibrating across my kitchen table. Unknown number. Local area code. I stared at it. Rang twice, then 3, 4. I didn't move. It stopped. I wrapped my fingers tighter around the cold ceramic mug. Then it rang again. Same number. Same silence in my chest. I let it ring out. By 7:10, I blocked it. At 7:18. Someone knocked. Not tentative, not loud. Just 3 short taps. Measured. I opened the door to a woman in a charcoal gray jacket and jeans. No badge on display. But everything about her posture said she didn't need one. Harper Whitaker? Yes, I'm Detective Maya Reyes. May I come in? I stepped aside. She waited for me to sit before she spoke again. Your brother was arrested early this morning, charged with wire fraud, obstruction, and false representation. I nodded once. He requested contact. You didn't answer. No. He used your name, your license number, and your credentials to form to LLCs. I'm aware. We'll need a full written statement, including any financial contact or communication you've had in the past 90 days. I reached for the folder already on the table and handed it to her. Her eyebrows lifted slightly. You prepared this in advance? Yes. She opened it, scanned the top sheet. Affidavit, call logs, account screenshots, texts. I'm a lawyer. That makes things easier. Does it? She closed the folder. Easier for us. I nodded toward the window. He's not getting bail. Is he? Probably not today. Maybe tomorrow if he finds someone. I picked up the mug again. Still cold. Reyes, watch me. You going to post it? No. She waited. He knew exactly what he was doing, I said. He just didn't think I'd respond like this. Did he ever threaten you? No. Never physically. Just assumptions. What kind? That I clean it up. She stood. We may ask you to testify. I'm aware. I don't expect it'll go to trial. No. He'll fold. Reyes tilted her head. You okay? No. She gave a small nod. He called you 6 times before we processed him. I know. You're not obligated to. I'm not going to see him. Understood. She turned to leave, then paused. For what it's worth, I've seen worse. People with less reason to burn it down than you. It's not revenge. I didn't say it was. She left. I poured the coffee down the sink, turned the mug over in my hands once. Then I set it on the drying rack and left it there. The courtroom was too cold, the kind of cold that settled in your wrists and refused to leave. I sat in the second row behind the prosecutor's table. Not a participant, not a spectator, something in between. Dean shuffled in, shackled at the wrists and ankles, orange jumpsuit, head down, jaw clenched. He looked thinner, grayer, smaller. He didn't look at me. Judge Celeste Avery entered without ceremony. Docket number 38,761, the State of New York versus Dean Whitaker. Her voice carried like a slap. The prosecutor rose. Your Honor, we are prepared to proceed on arraignment and bail recommendation. Dean's public defender Young, nervous, tie-crooked, stood next. We waive a formal reading and enter a plea of not guilty. The clerk typed. The sound echoed like footsteps on marble. I watched Dean. His fingers twitched against the chain. He didn't glance back. Judge Avery adjusted her glasses. Counsel, bail? The prosecutor cleared her throat. Given the nature of the charges, fraud, obstruction, and impersonation involving state-licensed identities. We ask for remand. Defendant has no stable residence, no employment, and prior failure to appear on record. Dean's attorney shut up, Your Honor. Mr. Whitaker has family in state. Who? Avery Cutton. The room stilled. The attorney looked toward me, then back at Dean, his sister. Harper Whitaker. Avery glanced down at the file. The same Harper Whitaker listed as a primary complainant in the fraud documentation. Silence. Dean finally looked up, his eyes found me. I didn't move, counsel. Avery said flatly. Don't insult the bench. The attorney swallowed. Understood. Remand is granted, she said. Next hearing in 14 days. Defendant is to be held without bail. The gavel struck once. Sharp. Final. Dean turned as the officers led him back. He searched the room with a look I remembered, hopeful, desperate, childlike. His gaze locked on mine. I didn't blink, I didn't nod, I didn't rise. He opened his mouth just slightly. The bailiff tapped his shoulder. He turned back. The chains rattled. Then he was gone. I cleared the kitchen table and turned on the lamp. Just that, nothing else. The house was quiet, like it was holding its breath. I pulled a legal pad from the drawer, picked up a pen, wrote his name at the top. Dean. Then I stopped. I stared at the page for a long time. Then I started writing. You missed the game. That was the first line. I let it sit there a second before continuing. You said you'd be there. You said it like it mattered, like it meant something. I looked for you every quarter. I played harder because I thought you were watching. You weren't. You never were. My hand moved on its own now. I covered for you when you crashed Dad's car, when you forged Mom's check, when you pawned my textbooks to pay a bookie. You always promised it was the last time, that this one counted, that you were changing. You weren't. You didn't. I flipped to the next page. You used my name. Not just borrowed it, used it. You forged it into something cheap and hollow. You called it a mistake, but you planned it step by step. You built a lie with my identity like it was a tool you owned. You thought I'd clean it up like always, that I'd answer the phone, that I'd walk into the fire and pull you out again. You didn't think I'd let you burn. I stood up, poured a glass of water, sat back down. My hand ached, but I kept going. I used to think love meant loyalty, that family meant sacrifice, that showing up for someone no matter what was strength. But strength isn't bleeding for people who sharpen the knives. Strength is walking away with your pulse intact. You didn't break me, but you hollowed out things I used to believe. I pressed the pen harder now. The ink ran thicker, letters darker. I'm not angry, not anymore. I'm just done. I'm done waiting, done explaining, done carrying your shame in my chest like it belongs to me. The pad was half filled. I ripped out the pages, folded them once, then again, walked to the sink, lit a match, held the flame to the corner until it caught. The paper curled, blackened, turned to ash. I opened the window and let the smoke drift into the night. He'd never read it, but I had. Claire sat across from me, laptop open, glasses pushed up on her head. We were in her office, small, unadorned, efficient, 2 mugs of coffee, one untouched. You ready to file this? She asked. Yes, you're sure? I nodded. Harper? I'm sure. Claire? She exhaled. Then I'll walk it to the clerk myself. Thank you. She looked at the screen. Petition for compensatory damages, defamation shield clause, and injunction against third-party credit entanglements. It's cleaner than I expected. It's surgical. Good. Claire clicked save, then sat back. He'll be notified by mail and in custody. That's fine. He'll try to write you. I won't read it. You'll get calls. I'll block them. You're calm. I looked at her. I have to be. An hour later, I walked to the county record's office, handed over my own affidavit to pages. Clear, cold. The clerk stamped it without comment. That night, Claire called. It's done, she said. Okay, no resistance from the desk. In fact, one of the staff nodded like she's seen it all before. Because she has. Claire paused. Can I ask you something? Sure. What does this feel like for you? Like I sealed a door. The next morning, a letter arrived at my firm from Dean. Standard issue jail stationery. I didn't open it. I put it through the shredder strip by strip, slow and deliberate. By Thursday, I had confirmation from the licensing board. My name was cleared. No flags, no holds. My credentials were intact. I sat with that for a long time. Didn't cry, didn't smile, just let the silence do what it needed to. Claire met me after work at the bookstore cafe. You look tired, she said. I slept. Finally, your name's clean. Your future's unchained. I know. She sipped her tea. Do you feel safe? I nodded. I feel beyond reach. Claire studied me. That's not nothing. No, it's everything. She leaned back. What now? I said. Now I build without him. The call came at 2:11 p.m. on a Tuesday. Unknown number. Area code from 2 counties over. I let it ring. Claire looked up from her notes. Spam, probably. It rang out, no voicemail, no follow-up. I slid the phone into the drawer. He tried again 2 days later. Same area code. Different number. Same. Silence. The third time, I picked up the phone, stared at the screen, and set it back down without answering. Claire watched me. You think it's him? I know it is. You okay? Yes. She studied me. You don't want to know what he'll say. I already know what he won't. He didn't leave a voicemail. Not once. A month passed, then another. Nothing. No letter, no email. No apology. Claire. And I sat on the courthouse steps after a long case. She handed me a bottle of water. You're quiet. I'm fine. You don't seem angry. I'm not. You're not waiting for anything, no. She nodded. That's power. You know, to stop hoping. That night, I saw his name in a dream, just floating on a page, no face, no voice. I woke up with dry eyes. The next morning, the phone rang again, blocked number. I watched it until it stopped. No voicemail. Nothing. Some people change when they lose everything. He didn't, and I didn't need him to. The gate creaked when I pushed it open. Same rusted chain link, same faded sign, no cleats past this point. Morning mist hovered over the field. The air was sharp, the way it always was before the sun committed. I walked to the edge of the track. The turf was damp, the bleachers empty. I pulled my hoodie tighter and started to stretch. In high school, I used to stand here waiting for him, Dean, always 5 minutes late, sometimes 10. Once, he didn't show at all. I played the whole game pretending it didn't matter. Now, no one was coming, and I didn't need them to. First lap, slow. I let my feet find the rhythm. Second, quicker, breath steady, arms loose. By the third, the weight started to lift when I reached the far curve. I saw a man locking out the equipment shed. Old, gray, worn jacket. He nodded. You used to play here. I did. Back when? 2006 to 2010. He squinted. You're Whitaker's sister. I'm Harper. That's right. You were the quiet one. Deadly on defense, still. AM? He laughed. You here for a reunion or something? No. Then what brings you back? Closure. I kept running. Lap 5. The sun pushed through, lighting the field in strips. I remembered every sprint, every drill. Every minute I spent proving I was worth the jersey. He was always supposed to be in the stands. I was always looking. Never again. Lap 6. My lungs burned. In the right way, clean pain, honest. I slowed to the end zone and walked back toward the bench under the press box. Sat. Let the sweat dry. A girl walked up, maybe 16, dragging a gym bag. Are you done? She asked. Almost. You on a team? No, just running. Yeah, she nodded. Cool. Then she jogged to the far end to start her warm-up. I watched her go. Then I stood, stretched once more. And walked off the field without looking back. Sunday mornings are quiet in my neighborhood. The kind of quiet that doesn't ask questions. I opened the window, let the air in, sat at the kitchen table with tea instead of coffee. No news playing, no phone nearby, just light, soft and steady. Claire called mid-morning. Just checking in, she said. I'm good. You sound good. I am? She paused. Did you hear from him? No. You want to know? Another pause. You still angry? No, really, I'm not angry, I said. I'm not anything. That sounds like peace. It is. I walked to the farmer's market alone. Picked out apples, smiled at the old woman selling honey, listened to a child explain to his dad how carrots grow. Nobody knew my name. It felt clean. Back home, I folded laundry with the windows open. Dean's hoodie was still at the bottom of the drawer. I hadn't touched it in a year. I pulled it out, held it for a second, then I stuffed it into a bag and dropped it off at the shelter by the highway. No note. No name. Just gone. Claire and I met for lunch. She brought books. I brought silence. Halfway through our meal, she said, You look like someone who's finished something. I have. You want to talk about it? No, okay. She reached across the table, stole a fry. You don't have to forgive him. I won't. You don't have to carry him either. I'm not, she smiled. That's freedom, Harper. I nodded. Yeah. It is. That night, I slept with the window cracked, hands relaxed. Breath steady. The world didn't owe me anything, and for the first time, I didn't owe anyone either.